Marvel Rivals at its best is when it feels like anything can happen. One good ultimate can flip a fight, one perfectly timed dive can break a backline, and one swap can completely change a losing team. And this is what made Marvel Rivals so addictive when it came out. You were not just loading into a match and hoping your aim was better than the other guy, you were constantly trying to figure things out. How do we get through this tank line? How do we stop their dive? Why are we losing these fights? And what can I pick that changes this? Every role had a purpose, every composition had an answer, and when your team adapted correctly, you could feel the game swing in your favor. These moments is what makes a hero shooter special. Not just getting eliminations, not just pressing your ult, but realizing what the other team wants to do and finding the answer before they find yours. But lately, unfortunately, I have been feeling something change in Marvel Rivals. And I'm not alone in this. I think a lot of the community have the same opinion. Games are starting to feel more repetitive. The same heroes showing up, the same ability rotations, and the same characters seem to have an answer no matter what you try against them. And when that happens, the game becomes less about adapting to your opponent and more about hoping you pick the right hero with the most answers built into their kit. I do not think Marvel Rivals has a single role problem. I think it has a bigger design problem. The game is slowly losing the feeling that every decision has a counter decision. And to be clear, this is not a video about one broken character. It is not also a nerf strategist video. It's not even really a video about healing numbers, honestly. This is about what happens when too many heroes start gaining extra abilities outside of their original role. Throughout different patch notes and updates, when a character gets to keep their strongest identity, whether this is healing, dive pressure, poke damage, but also gains more escape, more self-peel, more crowd control, more survivability, and more bailout options, eventually it becomes harder to tell what actually is supposed to beat them. And this is where the game starts losing its core mechanic, the rock, paper, scissors counterplay. The reason Rivals used to feel so fresh is because it had a simple but satisfying balanced loop. Main healers could keep a team alive, but dive could pressure them. Dive could burst into the backline, but brawl, peel, and stagger could punish them in a bad engage. Poke could control space and sightlines, but once pressure reached them, they were supposed to be uncomfortable. Now, I will admit, throughout seasons and updates, it was never perfect. But it created a conversation between compositions. You picked something, I answered. You adapted, I adapted back. And that is a part of Rivals I think we need to protect. Every strength is supposed to create a response, and every composition should have a clear trade-off. Now, the real problem is not that these heroes are strong. The problem is that more and more of them are gaining ways to remove the response that was supposed to keep them in check. And that does two things. First, it makes matches more repetitive because the same all-purpose heroes become the safest picks. Second, it can lower the skill ceiling. When a hero always has another bailout option, they need less awareness, less positioning, less cooldown discipline, and less ability to outplay the person in front of them. The game becomes less about making the better decision. It becomes more about following the better flowchart. And unfortunately, strategists are the easiest place to see that trend. Not because strategists are the only problem, but because their new safety tools are changing some of the most important interactions in the game. Let's take Cloak and Dagger as the first example. Not because they are the only issue, but because they show exactly how a hero can go from strong with counterplay to strong with an answer for almost everything. Cloak and Dagger by default already brings an absurd amount of value. They have excellent healing, they have strong team utility, they have an ultimate that can make a team incredibly difficult to kill, and they are one of the easiest strategists in the game to pick up and get value from. None of this is actually bad in its core. None of this is automatically wrong. Easy to learn heroes are good for a game. Not everyone wants to play a hero that requires 10,000s of hours of mechanics just to be useful, obviously. But the more accessible a hero is, the more important it is that they have a clear weakness. Cloak and Dagger's weakness used to be dive. If you were caught at the wrong time, you had to think, do I bubble now? Do I save fate? Is the diver just baiting me? Or is he actually committing? Can I bake it back to my team? Or do I have help? These decisions were the difference between an average Cloak and Dagger player and a really good one. But with the added team-up safety, the defense rotation becomes much more forgiving. Bubble, fade, team-up, reset. And again, this issue is not that Cloak and Dagger can survive a dive. In a healthy shooter game, a strategist should survive a dive more often than not. This we all agree on. The issue is when the diver does everything right, takes the flank, forces cooldowns, commits at the right time, and then there's always one more escape layer waiting. The intended weakness, which was supposed to be dive, it starts disappearing. And the weakness disappears, so does the need for positioning, awareness, and cooldown discipline. You're not necessarily outplaying the dive anymore, you're just following a flowchart. And Cloak and Dagger, who is a main healer with really good healing output, some of the best utilities in the game, and a really great ultimate, should have a weakness. We cannot allow this hero to not have any weaknesses. That's unhealthy for the game. Now, looking at some other strategists such as Luna Snow, she has a similar problem, but is not exactly the same. Cloak and Dagger gets more layers of safety. Luna Snow has been slowly losing the mechanical skill check that she used to rely on in previous seasons. She has always been a high-tier healer. Great healing, a massive ultimate, and the ability to completely take over a fight in the hands of a strong Luna player. But Luna used to demand something in return, obviously. It was her freeze, her anti-dive moment. If someone jumped on you, you had to stay calm, you had to aim, you had to time it correctly. You had to recognize when the diver had committed enough that the landing freeze would actually turn the fight. If you landed it, you could easily punish a dive. It usually translated into a kill immediately. If you missed it, or you panicked, or you used it too early, you were vulnerable to dive. That was good design, it was good decision making. Luna was strong because a great player would make a great play. But when freeze becomes more forgiving, and Luna gains another anti-dive layer through White Fox team-up, the pressure of that moment gets considerably reduced. She still has elite healing, she still has a huge ultimate, she still has enormous fight impact. So where is exactly the drawback? But the risk attached to that power gets smaller and smaller. And that is the important decision. A buff can be healthy, we all know this, it makes the game more fun. But not if it lowers the skill requirement while keeping all of the rewards that is attached to the hero. In a hero shooter game, bad positioning should matter. Missing a key ability should matter, and a clean dive should matter. If Luna always has another answer, then the player is not being rewarded for mastering the situation. They get value because they simply have an extra button. Looking at another great example is Rocket. Not because he's weak, but because he has enormous value while still having a real risk attached to him. Rocket is really the dark horse of the strategist role. He is the comfort pick for a lot of flex players who are forced onto strategist. Small hitbox, easy healing, 2 boost buttons, and decent baseline value. But a good Rocket player is genuinely terrifying. Small hitbox makes him hard to poke, his mobility makes him annoying to catch, his healing is reliable, and his ultimate can completely change a fight. But the ability people underrate the most is really the revive button. In a hero shooter, being one player up is usually the biggest advantage in a teamfight. You have more damage, more healing, more cooldowns, and more pressure, obviously. You should be able to take space or force the enemy team to retreat. Rocket can simply erase that advantage. I mean, think about it, you finally secure an elimination, you get your 5 versus 4, then the beacon just says, "Hey man, congratulations, can you do it again?" This is an incredibly powerful ability. But Rocket still fits the counterplay system because he's not immortal. He's vulnerable to bust, he has weak self-healing, a coordinated dive can definitely kill him, and his beacon can be destroyed or played around. Rocket has massive value, but he still has something to lose. And that is the difference between a powerful hero and a role-compressed hero. And I genuinely want to be fair here. Dive is absolutely power-crept as well. I mean, Venom is probably the strongest hero in the Marvel Rivals right now. Not just because of his damage, and not even because of eliminations, honestly. A good Venom could just jump onto point, force strategists to look at him, burn cooldowns, stall the objective, escape, and get back into the fight faster than much of the roster. Sometimes he doesn't even need a kill. If you can just get both healers to focus for him for 5 or more seconds while his teammates take better angles and pressure everybody else, he already won the engagement. So yes, strategists definitely need survivability. You cannot expect a healer to just explode every time Venom enters their zip code, obviously. But this is the difference between survivability and immunity, in my opinion at least. A healer should survive Venom because they saw the dive coming, they saw the right cooldown, they positioned well and received peel. They should not survive because the kit gives them enough automatic safety that Venom's engage no longer creates a real problem. I mean, let's be honest, Venom is the reason healers deserve answers, healers deserve some buffs. But he's not the reason healers should have no weaknesses. Now, if I sound like a guy that's just ranting about strategists, we need to talk about the role that has been ignoring the counterplay triangle for a while now. Poke. Poke is supposed to have one of the cleanest identities in a hero shooter, obviously. You control space, you win sightlines, you pressure before the fight even starts, you control the neutral, you punish bad rotations. This is already extremely valuable. So what should Poke lose in exchange? I mean, in my opinion, if a dive finally reaches you, you should struggle. If a brawl closes the distance, you should feel uncomfortable. You should have to think and use your cooldowns appropriately. You should not just be the best at range, the best at escaping, the best at peeling, the best at burst damage, and also the best at deleting someone up close. I mean, look at pro play, it's just almost always Poke, with the exceptions of Psylocke and Wolverine here and there, obviously. So where's the counterplay? Dive reaches Poke, escape button. Brawl reaches Poke, displacement or burst. Poke mirrors Poke, now you have the same heroes because their damage and utility are just simply better. This is why hero pools become repetitive. The game stops asking, what does our team need? It actually starts asking, which hero does every job at once? And not to be that guy here, but Bucky is the perfect example. Why pick a specialized hero when Bucky can poke, peel, displace, and literally two-shot your squishy and escape when things get uncomfortable? And to be fair, with the things are going right now with the patches and updates and everything, I would not be surprised if he starts taking my children to school and mows my lawn at the same time or something, I don't know. But yeah, the main point is that Bucky is not just strong at his job, he can fill several jobs at once. And when one hero can cover the jobs of a duelist, a peeler, a poke character, and a disruptor, what is the point of having specialized heroes? Now this is actually called role compression. A strong hero has one good job. A role compressed hero has everybody's job. So yeah, my point is that Marvel Rivals does not need weaker heroes. Strong heroes are fun, strong heroes make highlights, and gives players something to master, obviously. The problem is when heroes stop giving something up for their strength. Main healers should have incredible sustain, but they need to have a real counterplay, which is dive. Dive should have burst and backline pressure, but they should be vulnerable to brawl and peel. And poke should control space, but it should not also have the best escape, burst, peel, displacement, and close range kill potential in the game. Extra buttons is not inherently bad, the team-ups are not bad, but extra buttons should create more decisions. They should reward better timing, better positioning, better awareness, and better teamwork. They should not turn every interaction into a safe ability rotation, where the opponent's outplay does not even count. I mean, Marvel Rival became great because each fight felt like a conversation between team compositions. You pick something, I counter it. You adapt, I adapt back. I mean, this is what makes winning feel earned, and this is what losing teaches you something, obviously. And that is what the game needs to protect. Buff survivability, it's okay, when it's needed. And honestly, I acknowledge the dive power creep. I mean, we have to keep strategists viable in some way or another, but we have to bring back meaningful trade-offs. Because when heroes have no weaknesses, players have no reason to adapt. And when players have no reason to adapt, I mean, counterplay kind of disappears, obviously. So that is my little video about the state of Marvel Rivals balancing patches and everything right now. Let me know your opinions in the comments down below. I mean, what is the biggest balancing issue right now? What do you think? Is it mainly healer safety? Is it the dive power creep? Is it role compressed poke heroes, which I think is the biggest problem right now? Or is it something else entirely?